What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. Today we're going to talk about the unfortunate case of Breonna Taylor. If you guys haven't heard by now, Breonna Taylor is a 21-year-old EMT professional who was working at two hospitals treating COVID-19 patients. She was gunned down in her house by the police from Louisville, Kentucky. She was shot at least 8 times. There were 28 shots that actually rang out in her apartment. The department thought that they were raiding a house of a fugitive that they were looking for, a suspect. And what they didn't realize was that they already had this suspect in custody. So there was no need to raid that house. Now, as the house was getting raided, Breonna was with her boyfriend, and he's a legal gun owner. He has a registered gun, a registered firearm, no felonies, no violent crimes, no nothing. He thinks that the house is getting robbed. He gets up to assess the situation, sees people ramming down his door, and he protects his home. And in the midst of protecting his home, his girlfriend, Miss Taylor, gets shot at least 8 times, killing her at the scene. And this happened in March, guys. It is currently May, and we're just now hearing about this. What a foul. What a foul. And if this is true, if all this information is true, and that the suspect was actually in custody while the Louisville Police Department was raiding Miss Taylor's apartment to catch a suspect that they already had in custody, somebody has to pay for this. Somebody needs to go to jail. And that somebody needs to be somebody in that Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. This is such a foul. I am so angered today. I am so tired of hearing these stories where a lot of people that look like me just happen to be in a situation that is similar to this, or a situation that is always on the wrong end. We have got to get things better, guys. This is not what America is. This is not what America is supposed to be. You should be able to go to sleep in your house and not worry about somebody raiding your home. We have the right to bear arms. Her boyfriend was bearing arms legally. He's thinking somebody is breaking into their house. So what does he do? He does what any man would do. You protect your home. So he goes to protect his home. And it just so happens that his home is being attacked by the Louisville Police Department, who 9 times out of 10 didn't even announce themselves because it was a raid. We've seen that happen quite a few times, especially where I'm from, in Shreveport, Louisiana, or just in the whole state of Louisiana. We've seen it happen plenty of times where people get raided and there's no mention of police department in the raid. Nobody says anything. They just ram the door down. We've got to do better. This woman was on the front lines. She was a civil servant. You know, I'm in the military, guys. I tell you guys this all the time. You know, I feel like military, police, firemen, they're first responders. Well, guess what? She was a first responder with this COVID-19 virus. She was helping people at 2 different hospitals. If I'm not mistaken, her mother was so scared of her contracting the coronavirus that she didn't want her to do that. She wanted her to stay safe. She was so scared of her getting the virus and possibly dying from the virus. But little did she know that her daughter, who was training to be a nurse also, guys, she just wasn't somebody off the street who was not doing something good. I mean, there's nothing bad about it. She's a first responder, EMT at 2 separate hospitals, going to school to be a nurse. Her mother was scared that she would contract the coronavirus. She didn't want to even doing that right now in these times. But she did it. She served her country gracefully. She served her country proudly by being on the front lines. She's one of those heroes. The heroes that are helping those people with the coronavirus. Wow. Mother was scared that she was going to get that virus. But guess what? Mother did not know that she was going to die by the hands of the Louisville Police Department. When you have children that do things that are good in the world, you never expect this to happen to them. You know, when you have a child that not only has one job working at one hospital, but she has two working at two hospitals, helping those that are less fortunate. As a parent, you can pat yourself on the back and know that you raised your child right. Because essentially she was performing service before self. Service before self. And on that night, if I'm not mistaken, it was March 11th, she fell victim to the Louisville Police Department. Guys, it is 2 months after this, and we are just now hearing about this. And thank God for Sean King, because I wouldn't have heard about this story until I heard him actually speak about this a couple days ago. So I just felt compelled to make a podcast about this just to bring awareness. I have, quite a few listeners, and thank you guys for listening. But I just want you guys to hear this story if you haven't heard it yet. So if you have a chance, you need to go to your social media sites, hashtag Breonna Taylor, and just put awareness on this topic and this subject so that people know exactly what is happening in some of our communities. This is the stuff that gets brushed under the rug, guys. This is the stuff that should not get brushed under the rugs. You have somebody who is being a lawful citizen who owns a gun legally, who is Miss Taylor's boyfriend. You have Miss Taylor, who is a first responder as an EMT professional helping those with COVID-19. And she gets killed by the Louisville Police Department, shot more than 8 times. The detectives on the site, if I'm not mistaken, said more than 28 shots were fired. Her boyfriend narrowly escaped. Narrowly escaped. He didn't get shot, but he narrowly escaped. Things got to change, peeps. Things got to change. Things have to change. Now, I'm a parent. A lot of you guys who listen to this are parents also. And my one fear is that I'm going to have to bury my son. I pray to God I don't. But think about her mother and her father and her family members that are older than her, who are now going to have to bury her, who have buried her. Think about her mother who has buried her. My great grandmother, rest her soul, Jimmy T. She told me the worst thing she had to do in her life was bury her son. She was the oldest of all her siblings. She buried all her siblings. She buried her mother and father. They died young, so she had to raise her siblings. She buried all her siblings, and she buried her son. She was the last one standing. And I just kind of remember those words on the worst thing she ever had to do was bury her own son. And it wasn't that my grandfather was murdered or anything. He just died he died of cancer. He was in his 60s though. And so she had to bury her own son. So this was a 80-year-old woman at the time who had to bury her son, and that was the worst feeling ever. But just think about Miss Taylor's family. Think about her mother having to bury her own daughter. And it's a little bit easier to understand burying your child when they've lived their life and they've had 60 years to live their life like my grandfather did. But Miss Taylor, Breonna Taylor, was just 21 years old. She didn't even live her life yet. She was just getting started. She was just on her mission to become a nurse. She was an EMT professional, guys. She was living her life now and making her mark in this world. And she was brutally murdered by the Louisville Police Department in March as she was in her house sleeping. In her house. And from what I understand, they shot her. She didn't even have a shirt on. So you could definitely tell that she didn't have a weapon. And you still shot at her. Such a foul. All right, guys, on that note, man, we are going to end this today. Sad conversation. We shouldn't have to have these conversations on Fridays. We should be talking about great things, but we're not right now. So I want you guys to think about something. I am not a fan of police raids because too many things can happen. Too many wrong things can happen, as evident with this Breonna Taylor case. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys? Leave some comments, guys. Let me know what you guys think about police raids. Do we need them? Can we just wait? Can we just do a sting and wait till the person comes outside their house or their apartment? Can we follow them in the car and arrest them as they get in their car? Can we do something else? Because incidents like this should not happen. But on that note, guys, to let you guys know, man, to do you. Do you. Like I always tell you guys, don't be afraid to fail. Outgrow your environment. Understand your brilliance. Do you. And on that note, Nino's Corner, I am out.